Yo, what's the good word, y'all? Jets Flight Squad in the building. As normal, your host, DKBxJets. We got Gunny Gumby of New York Jets Situation Report. We got Gino from Everything NYJ, Italy Jet in the building, guys. And it's a chaotic pre-holiday gift for us, right? Mike White
That's
starting.
one way to put it.
Can't make it easy. You're not a Jets
All
fan.
right.
Nothing's easy.
Hey, look, if we
I
didn't
got
have
my
something to ponder about during these holiday games, it wouldn't be a normal season for us.
Yeah. Nice
It's
shirt,
funny
Gunny.
because the wife bought me this shirt, right? Like in the beginning of the season, saying, "Oh, it's the Jets. You're gonna probably want to wear this a couple of times when you're streaming or whatever." And I haven't had to use it, you know what I'm saying, since the Baltimore Ravens game. I'm like, this thing's been hanging up. So I was like, you know what? It's time. This might be my jersey for the rest of the season. You know what I'm saying? This team makes me drink. And it's suiting for the conversation at hand, bro. We're 6-4, bro, and it almost feels like we're 4-6. Like that's what's crazy about this is at 6-4 right now. We have, I think, the 8th or 9th best record in the NFL, and it feels like we're 4-6. That's the life of being a Jets fan right now, bro.
Hey, we have lived and died for about 2 decades on hope. And whether that's hope in the future with us looking to the draft in week 4, or if that's just assuming that we finally got the pieces in building for a playoff push and we see shit fall in the wayside. I mean, that's life for us, I suppose.
I think what's really funny is my dad. My dad never talks to me about Jets stuff overall. He talks to me sometimes about it, but he goes, "Hey, well, have you heard about the coin?" I'm like, "No, fuck that coin." And then he's like, "So," and then he's like, "Hey, you've been coming over to my house and watching the Patriots game with me," and I'm like, "Yeah, it's you. You're the bad luck. I'm not watching it with you anymore with Patriots games now." And then not even just that. I mean, the camera broke in the middle of the field. That was a delay. And last game there was like an hour delay. It's like it's only the Jets that this could happen to. Only the Jets that this could happen to.
You talking about the Skycam joint?
Yeah, exactly. Like just see Saleh and Barrios on the sideline. Like I was like,
just talking and laughing about it.
I was like, it
was
always happens to us.
Trash.
Always happens to us.
Trash. How the hell in the middle of a very promising drive do we suddenly get a damn?
Right.
It took me a minute to realize what they mean. Like in my head, I was thinking like NBA, like how they have the little jumbotron thing in the middle. I was like, oh damn, they was about to kill everybody. I realized they're talking about the little cameras that are just on the little lines, the little zip lines at the top of the stadium. So I was like, okay,
yeah,
we probably could have done without. We could have done without, but all right, so this topic, there's a lot of ways we can take it, right? And, per normal how our conversations go, I'm sure we will. But I guess we'll just kick it off with answering the question directly, right? So Mike White, we know he's starting. Zach Wilson will be inactive. We'll see how long that lasts. But at least for this season, do you see Mike White being a temporary move or a permanent one?
If I'm being honest, man, Mike White can operate this offense, I think, just well enough to where it makes it hard to put Zach Wilson in, seeing how mid he's been all season. And I think when you're looking at a team right now the rebuild process has been accelerated by almost 2 years, right? So this year we were supposed to think, okay, it's all about just being a little bit better than we were last year record wise and seeing Zach develop. Well, the team is way better than we were expecting them to be in terms of overall effectiveness and efficiency. Zach Wilson is the only bottleneck. And we don't even need Zach Wilson right now is ranked 35th out of 32 starting quarterbacks in the NFL in terms of quarterback rating. How the hell does that happen, bro? You've got backups with higher quarterback ratings than Zach Wilson. We just need a quarterback that can play average. This team is playing so well right now defensively that legitimately a top 20 quarterback could allow them to get into the playoffs and have a shot. A top 20 quarterback. We don't even need a top 15 or a top 10. This is how good this defense is and how good this roster is. And I don't see Zach Wilson getting a chance to take it back unless Mike White legitimately just like he shits the bed. Like I think Mike White has to literally come in this week and show us that that Buffalo game is just 100% who he is. That one quarter against, the Colts, the full game against Cincy were anomalies, and the Buffalo Bills game is 100% who he is. That's the only way we see Zach Wilson back. But if Mike White has even an average game where he's moving the offense, he just has to move the offense, and they win it. Yeah, Zach ain't coming back. And unfortunately for Zach, we're heading into this part of our schedule where it's literally we've got the easiest pass defensive schedule in the league in this back half, this last 7 games. So I think I find it very hard to believe that Zach Wilson will get back in there, unless of course Mike White pulls a Zach Wilson, and we got to go ahead and put Zach back in.
All right. Question for you real quick before you get too deep in thought. So are you saying Mike White staying will be based off performance, or is it going to be based off wins and losses?
Performance. I think wins and losses, if they're going to be even with what we saw with Zach Wilson, they're going to take a shot of putting their quarterback back out there, because then it matters to see, okay, sitting him down, making him go through this, did he figure it out? But if we're talking about, we're getting 200 plus yards of offense from Mike White, he's throwing for a touchdown, you know what I'm saying? He's not turning it up. Yeah, that's going to be, it's sad to say it, but 200 to 250 yards of offense and a touchdown pass is going to be enough, I think, to keep Zach Wilson on the bench.
Gino, what you think?
Well, first off, thank you to the Johnson family for not interrupting the process when it comes to Joe Douglas and Robert Saleh. They have done a great job on just letting them figure everything out, especially with the Denzel Mims, Elijah Moore situation, and now they're doing another one with Zach Wilson. As far as I've always been go for the hot hand, so it was definitely necessary to have Wilson be benched. I'm very happy that he is benched, because he just hasn't been himself. He hasn't been right. But Mike White, I mean, I'm always the guy next man up, stay with a hot hand. And if he does, that's great. If he doesn't, then I could definitely see ourselves going back to Zach Wilson. So it's just all what depends on these next 3 games. We got the Bills, Vikings, and Bears. And personally, I'm scared about the Bills and Vikings, but the Bears, that's the team we should definitely win. We should win that to just get back on track, to get these guys' spirits up again. And you're coming off a big loss against the Patriots that everyone hates. And plus, just like my co-host Liam said, me and him talked about it, Belichick didn't even prepare for us. He was just like, oh, we already know. He was already preparing for the Vikings. Like, it's bullshit. I hate him for that. So overall, yes, if Mike White does well, stick with the hot hand. If he doesn't, then we definitely have to look maybe into Flacco, Wilson, or Streveler. But yeah, I think Mike White can do it. He's done it against the Bengals before. It's just going to be interesting to see what he does. They all love him. I mean, you could tell they all love him. So yeah, we'll just see what happens.
I got you. I mean, it sounds like for the most part, at least from Dark Soldier's side of things, you guys have some agreement in here. Should have started Zach Wilson after first mess up, bench him. I think I'm clear. I think I'm definitely on the other side of it. So once I finally was able to calm down and kind of rationalize all the things, and
wait, how did it go with your brother? How to go with your brother first? How to go with your brother first?
Yep. So as soon as the next morning hit, he at least gave me the night. God. Piece of shit sends me a text, and it's like a little Patriots meme, and it's about, owning the Jets and all this. So, kindly told him to fuck off, and hopefully see him in the playoffs.
I love that.
And Matt, I've been getting so much shit from all the Patriots guys, and it's even when I'm commenting on stuff, and it was funny that we just had this whole conversation about like trolls and all that last week, but like even when I've been conversating with other team people, it's never like your team's trash, my team's great, we're gonna destroy you. It's more so, good game, we'll see what happens, yada yada. But Patriots fans aren't built like that because they've been smoking Brady's dick for too long. But
too long, bro.
Irregardless,
not long enough. They're still smoking Brady's dick. Not long enough.
Smoke away until he's gone. um, so Zach Wilson, I've always been of the opinion that we should have sat him. And even though I prefer Trey Lance, this would have been the same thing with Trey Lance. I realized they were a piece of clay. They needed to be molded. And that was going to take time. We go back and think about Zach Wilson's scouting report. A lot of it just mentioned his off-platform throws, his ability to escape and make things happen. Basically, it was written up that he had great arm talent, a little mobility, and he was excellent as a backyard football player. That hasn't translated so well to the NFL because it only takes a handful of games for these defensive masterminds to go out there and say, let's take out all the nonsense and force you to actually play professional football. It's not where Zach Wilson's at this point. So I thought realistically, he probably shouldn't even have came back and got the start right away. We probably should have actually held an open competition, but it is what it is. We were winning. We were winning in spite of him. All of that's gravy. What pisses me off is that every single game, and Gunny, you would know this as much as anybody else since you do tune into the All 22. Every third throw is him trying to leap off his back foot, throw this Superman pass, his Hail Mary, and it's at all levels. He's doing it behind the line of scrimmage. He's doing it in the 0 to 10 range, intermediate. He's chucking deep balls. He got lucky with the Denzel Mims one last week. And so I love the fact that you can trust Robert Saleh to give an honest evaluation up to a certain degree. There's always going to be some politics in there. But he mentioned as much. His mechanics have fallen apart.
Off
this man
charts, bro. Like
he's let alone a college quarterback. He's not even ready for the NFL. And Richard Sherman mentioned as much. Chris Sims has been his biggest, savior at this point in terms of somebody that's trying to keep a lot of the criticism off of him. And even he can't say a whole lot about it. He's like, they blame LaFleur and stuff like that a little bit. But I say all that to say, I think this is the best thing that could happen for Zach Wilson, and especially the part about him being inactive. I didn't even want him to be a backup when I found out, because this means you have 100% of your time to just focus on rebuilding yourself.
Yep.
You already know how to do the game planning and the preparation and what to expect and all that after your first season. And so literally you can just get out there. It'll be like it's the off season already and he's working with John Beck. Focus on your mechanics, get your consistency down. And I trust Robert Saleh and his staff at this point that if Zach Wilson really does end up looking like, as these practices go on, he's better than Mike White. Obviously, I don't expect Joe Flacco to see the field unless there's an injury. Then he's really suited to go back out there and he can show why he could be a dominant quarterback in the league. But I mean, during this whole stretch of games since Zach Wilson's return, it's been so maddening because we've been hanging on to some of the dumbest shit. Don't throw any turnovers. Just play game manager. We don't need touchdowns. Just don't fuck over the defense. Like, nobody talks about their offense like this. It's absolutely ridiculous. So league average play would make these gaps between the New York Jets and a lot of these other teams look excruciatingly large. You can't tell us we're not close to the Chiefs just based on the defense alone. We showed the Bills, and everybody wants to point to the injuries, but that was on the defensive side.
Yep.
You can't tell us that we're not the upper, in the upper echelon of the league right now, purely based off defense and what our special teams has been doing. So I feel like with Mike White coming in, again, Gunny, as you mentioned, there's going to be a level of consistency we haven't seen, or efficiency anyways, that we haven't seen with Zach Wilson. And that alone, if we can just churn out first downs, I mean, Zach Wilson's only had like 50 first downs this year, something crazy like that.
Something stupid low, bro. Stupid low.
It's absolutely ridiculous. So just being able to move the chains, just the fact that our defense won't have to come back on the field immediately after 3 minutes, that I think that'll do a lot for this team. And, as you mentioned, Gino, we've seen before that this team has really gotten behind him. And Mike White, which nobody's talked about, keep in mind, he did damage to Cincy. He looked great in Indy. The Bills game is whatever, but he was doing damage with a roster that's not nearly the same as what we have right now. So I'm really expecting kind of another level out of him.
Yeah. I think so for me, right? Like when I got the news today, so I believe they were going to bench him. Like I woke up this morning. When I saw the press conference from Saleh, I said, "All right, Zach Wilson's not playing this Sunday. He's not." And I thought it was going to be Joe Flacco. I was like, "Okay, Joe Flacco, get the old vet out there. I know he's about as fast as molasses, but you know what I'm saying? He comfortable in the scheme in terms of the timing. You saw him do damage in Cleveland." And on the back half of the Baltimore Ravens game when he figured it out, like, so I trust in Joe Flacco's experience, and he still has some arm strength, even though he can't move for shit. Like, he just can't move. But when I heard Mike White was going to be starting, I was just like, ah, shit. And I can't help but think about the Buffalo game because that's the last. I mean, it's the freshest memory we have of Mike White playing in the NFL game. So I literally jumped on all 22, which I love the all 22. I went, and you could see last year's too. So like 2021 popped up. I was like, oh, it worked. So I jumped on there and I watched the games that Mike White played. And yeah, man, he's got no deep. If you're asking this man to throw deep, you're doing yourself a disservice. There's no arm strength there. He can't do it. It's not in his wheelhouse. But he's got a good release. He's very accurate in those like 10 to 15 yards in throws. Like, I'm talking about money. And he was throwing to guys like Griffin last year, bro. Like Coleman last year, bro. Like Keenan Cole last year, bro. Like, and those guys were making catches and making plays. Now you're talking about, let's see some of that same kind of efficiency, but you're throwing to Conklin now. CJ Uzama. You're throwing to freaking Garrett Wilson, right? Like, and that's where I was just like, okay, he destroyed Cincy with a couple of used car salesmen. That first quarter against Indianapolis Colts, I was like, damn, okay. Yeah, I forgot about this game because he only played for pretty much 2 series. But wow, efficient, got the ball downfield, got a touchdown. Nice touchdown, corner touchdown pass to Elijah Moore. Nice touchdown pass. I'm like, all right. Then the Buffalo Bills game came on. I was like, oh my God, what is – people are saying, well, he was bad because, like, oh, he was getting hit. I'm like, no, he didn't. He didn't get hit in 3 out of the 4 interceptions he threw. They were just horrible throws. And – there were 3 more interceptions dropped in that game. It was bad. But Buffalo was also the number 1 defense last year when he played them. So I think about that, and I'm like, all right, Chicago Bears is not the number 1 defense. They're literally the 27th ranked defense right now. So I think Mike White is going to have a field day this week. And I think it's going to show a lot of people that are like not too sure if it's Zach Wilson, if it's the offensive line, if it's the scheme. I think this game is going to open up a lot of people's eyes, and it's going to be like, I think even Zach's going to sit there and be like, shit, well, now everybody knows it's me. Because I believe Mike White's going to have, like, I'm going to say it now. I think he's going to throw for over 250 yards and at least 2 touchdowns this game. And I think it's going to look very efficient, mid-60s in terms of, like, the completion percentage. He might throw an interception just because I think it's just in his wheelhouse to throw an interception. But I'm telling you, I think people are going to see this game on Sunday, and they're going to be like, man, hey, look, that Zach Wilson kid might be the problem. Because the mechanics of Zach Wilson, he trusts his arm so much, and it's a great arm. I get that. Very, very powerful arm. I get that. But this is the NFL, bro. These windows are tighter. The timing matters. You've got to be able to put the ball like specifically where it needs to be. And trusting your arm and throwing it into a window like he did in college just because he had the better weapons on the field in his conference. So he could get away with that. Doesn't happen here. And in forcing it and trying it, he's looked horrible. The mechanics look like this is a high school quarterback learning for the first time the position. That's how bad the mechanics have looked for Zach Wilson. All those arm strength in the world, and everybody knows it, but your body your lower part of your body needs to be connected to the throw. If it's not, you're going to be inaccurate. Your timing's going to be off. You won't have the confidence in some of your throws, and you saw that all on Sunday. I think this week, man, like, again, I wasn't expecting Mike White. I thought it was going to be Joe, but I think Mike White's going to have a game, and that's why I think we probably won't see Zach Wilson for the rest of this season.
You know, you look like you had something you wanted to chip in there a little while back.
I mean, if Mike White does do well, then you stick with him. But Zach Wilson, I think they needed now they just need to take it to approach of what they did with Mahomes. They didn't play him his first year, and then he balled out his second year. Now just rest the kid, make him have him do his routine, have him learn more, because every time when someone rushes him, he's rushing that way. He's not doing consistent throws. With Mike White, I mean, I just don't have faith in anything right now with the quarterback position. So I hope Mike White proves me wrong. I really do. I hope he proves me wrong. I hope he has a good game. Bears suck. Fields, he's injured. And if we lose to the Bears on a backup quarterback named Trevor Siemian,
the coin.
That's bad. That's bad.
If we lose to the Bears,
hold on. Trevor Siemian. Have that sink in for a second, Gunny. Trevor Siemian is a backup quarterback. That's bad.
100%. That's why I'm saying if we lose to the Bears, the coin is real. That's why I'm saying that, because you're right. There's no way in hell we should be worried about playing Trevor Siemian.
But yeah, exactly.
If somehow we lose this
the
game,
coin.
Shut up.
The
DK.
coin knows all. And let's start celebrating that AFC Championship game, baby.
I'm not believing that yet. No.
Hey. No. Yeah, no, I'm not sold, but I am super mad. And then Gunny, I seen your I don't know if it was community post or where I seen it at, but you were talking about the bet that somebody would have made if they actually followed the wins and losses.
Yeah.
Oh my God, damn.
That would have been a lot of money.
$100 bet would have warranted you $19 million right now, bro. If you had followed the freaking sheet.
Stupid, insane. I wish I would have known, because I don't mind. I wouldn't have put $100, but I would have put 10 down and still been extremely happy to have 190,000. Like you,
yeah, bro. I would have still been money.
Yeah.
But like,
I didn't even know about it until 4 or 5 weeks ago.
I think maybe like 2 weeks ago. I saw a glimpse of it on Twitter. And then I didn't think anything of it then. And then somebody said like, "Oh, it predicted we were going to lose to the Patriots or whatnot." And I was like, "What? How? Bullshit!" And then I had to look for it and I found it. But yeah, man, the odds are ridiculous, bro. Like,
but
$100 will turn into 19 million.
Amazing. Let's see what happens. But overall, for me, I love that Joe Douglas and Saleh are handling this all very, very well. Like no one from the Jets past has handled things like this well, except for these guys right now. I mean, they did it all. They brought in James Robinson when Breece Hall went down. They brought in LDT, Remmer, Cedrico. I mean, to help Wayne with Brown. That too. Like exactly. So it feels good that in their minds that our season is not over with. Because if this was our season over with, we would be playing a lot of backup players right now. And Saleh would just be like, no, we'll stick with Wilson. No, they believe that we can get to the playoffs. And that's why they're bringing in people and handling the situation with Zach and Elijah Moore and Mims. It's good to see. That's what we haven't seen in a long time. And that's what's very encouraging. If we win against the Bears, get back on track, because these next 2 games are they're going to be a bitch. They're going to be a bitch, man. It's going to be interesting.
I will say this. Watching the Minnesota Vikings struggle against the Cowboys gave me a little bit more hope.
That's true.
Because that defense is good. Ours is better. And they locked them up, bro. That was an embarrassment. But in order for it to matter, we need a quarterback that can at least be mid. And that's why I feel better, but it sounds so messy. I feel better now about that game, knowing that we might have a mid quarterback going in than an inconsistent Zach Wilson going in. Like, it's weird to feel that way, but I don't know if it's just me. Did you guys watch the game on Sunday? And every time Zach Wilson stepped back to throw, you felt anxious. I felt anxiety.
I've been feeling anxious about Zach Wilson since we got him, so I can't. It's just a regular thing. It's just a regular thing with me.
That's just a Sunday for me, bro.
Yeah, that's just any given Sunday for me.
Hey.
That's an every Sunday thing.
Gino with the PTSD coming through. My God,
it seems like it's all I have.
Oh my God.
Nah, I've been like that for a couple weeks too, though. Like, it's just it's mind-boggling, some of the shit that like we're going through with Zach Wilson, and the fact that he might be our first quarterback that has multiple like categories that are significant enough where he's not even ranked in the first 32 starting quarterbacks.
Bro,
and you see the PFF rankings of our defense, all in the top 3, 5, and 10. That's never been like that before with us. So we got to get this offense right, because our defense is ready to roll, dude. Except the missed tackles.
So DK said that. You're right. I looked it up. There has never been a quarterback, statistically speaking, in the common era that has performed to this level of shit.
Yeah,
in the NFL.
100%. And we're seeing comparisons like Ryan Leaf and all of that.
Jamarcus
Did you see that?
Bro.
See that Twitter
oh
on that
my
Ryan Leaf?
God. Dog, I cannot believe. And then I sit there like, you saw those guys, you knew those guys, and you knew the NFL just got smarter when it came to picking players. So you never thought in a million years you're going to see those caliber of players making it to the league again. And yet we have Zach Wilson, who is elbow to elbow with these guys in terms of statistical categories. And by the way, he's worse.
Yeah. It's tough. So I actually had an interesting take, and I might have covered this over the course of like 2 or 3 videos recently, but I don't even put 100% of what we're seeing on Zach Wilson. I think a large piece of it is actually still on the Jets, and here's why. So when we've seen the staff coming together, the defensive side, everybody was excited about, Tony Odom's coming. We get Saleh, great with linebackers. We get Ulbrich, super genius in terms of defense. Maybe he had crappy guys, not our first choice. Either way, when I looked into his history and some of the comments and stuff people were shooting my way that I looked up, it made a lot of sense. So linebacker specialist, safety, we pretty much got the bases covered on defense. Offensively, shit is much different. Miles Austin, first year, he's coming from, retirement. He's a little bit of experience. We do have, and I'm so mad I can't remember his name right now, but our tight ends coach is like the most veteran guy that we have on our offensive staff. Why can't I remember his name?
Jets tight end coach? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. Help me out. Everybody wants to die. Everybody wants to go to heaven. Nobody wants to die.
Middleton?
Yeah. Ron Middleton. There we go. Yeah. So I love him.
Hit it.
Right.
Hit it. So it's crazy that I won't say crazy. It is what it is. But he's our most veteran offensive coaching staff member. Appreciate it, Dark Soldier. I might have missed your comment when you were shooting that answer over. But he's our most veteran guy. The plan was, when we had got Zach Wilson, was we're going to surround him with a guy that we think is a young offensive genius in Mike LaFleur. To be determined, but for the most part, the results look well considering who we're saying his quarterback was and the various opinions there. Secondly, we spent a pretty significant amount of resources in building up his weaponry and his offensive line around him and stuff. So we've done everything right to this point. But when you take a look at the coaching staff instead of personnel, Greg Knapp was supposed to be the critical piece of this staff that got things going and developing.
100%.
Rest in power.
Rest in peace. Yeah.
Rest in power. He didn't make it. We never really replaced him, right? We went and we've got his quarterback coach Beck. We ended up making shifts with what's his name, Rob Calabrese, becoming the quarterback position coach. We sent John Beck away after the offseason to kind of streamline things. And we still never got that guy that can say, hey, some of these schemes don't make sense. Hey, we have too many wide receivers running routes on this side of the field. The running game's not quite on board. Maybe we try some more. So I feel like there's a lack of balance, or maybe a lack of like a presence that Mike LaFleur can go to instead of having to be the guy himself. Because we take a look at his history, he's not exactly, he might be a young genius from what he did in San Francisco, right? But it's a very small sample size. He's coming from being a passing game specialist, and half, if not most of his years up to date being an offensive assistant or some kind of intern. So we're talking about a really small sample size. And Greg Knapp was really that infusion, I think, on the coaching staff that we would have seen in elevation, like what we're getting with Daniel Jones. But we don't have that guy. Nobody knows what Rob Calabrese's credentials is outside of the fact that he helped Drew Lock. And I don't think anybody's excited about that.
No.
And Mike LaFleur. And he already had Jimmy Garoppolo. So it's like, what have they actually done to show that they built, a quarterback that can win in the league, as opposed to having somebody that's hand gifted to them, or in Drew Lock's cases, flaming out, even though I hear Seattle still loves him for future competition with Geno Smith, I guess. But it's that's the one disappointing piece. And I think if they really take a look at it, that's probably got to be one of the main offseason goals. I don't care how they go about it. I'm not even saying it needs to be, you know, an 80-year-old coach that they go and grab, but you either need to really find you another young offensive mind to throw in that room, or you need to go and secure you somebody else that can kind of be a balance and checks with Mike LaFleur so we can get this going.
It's funny you say that. It's funny you say that because yesterday I happened to go ahead and comment on Kurt Warner's QB an analytic or an analysis of Zach Wilson. And I put it on Twitter. Kurt Warner commented on my Twitter stating like, yeah, the Jets know where to find him, like if they're interested. Like he's easily reachable, right? Like, and I was just like, oh snap. And is this fake news right now? But sure enough, it's the real Kurt Warner. And he literally, like, people were saying, like, why would Kurt Warner want to come out of retirement? Like, he's living. And Kurt's like, well, I enjoy teaching, and I think I have a lot to offer, in my opinion. So, like, he's literally in this whole Twitter thread responding to people that are saying he wouldn't want to do it. And he's like, well, I enjoy teaching, and I feel like I have a lot to offer. And I'm like, oh, shit. So, Jets, I've literally tagged the Jets, and I've retweeted it. And I had a bunch of other people retweet it. I think you're 100% right. I think in a situation like this, we need a Kurt Warner is a proven Hall of Fame quarterback that operated and
Super Bowl champion
show on turf. Super Bowl champion. This guy was the backup that came in, you know what I'm saying, and took a team.
Trent Green,
right? He was stocking shelves, came into the league. High IQ guy, very effective.
Arena football, too. Arena football.
Bro, like this is the guy that I think would benefit a Zach Wilson greatly because he broke down what Zach Wilson was doing or not doing. And I'm like, damn, he broke it down so simply. I'm like, well, shit, that seems easy as hell to comprehend. I see what he's saying. That makes sense. He's not confident here. He didn't step back here. This freaking play should have done. And I'm like, why is he not on the freaking team? Ever since we lost freaking Nat, we haven't had somebody to be in Zach Wilson's ear to kind of help slow down the game for him, man. And I think a guy like Kurt Warner with the high IQ, with the game experience, could be an invaluable asset to this team, especially right now where you're talking about, oh, we're in quarterback purgatory. We might need to go back to the drawing board next season at quarterback. Okay. To make sure that we're in quarterback purgatory, let's bring in somebody with a track record of understanding the position that can help this kid and potentially shine or develop. And I don't know if they're going to do it, man. I think I think they're comfortable with the coaching stuff that they currently have. But, I mean, DK's right, bro. Like, where on that offensive side do we have a proven guy that we know that has the resume or the record that we could look at confidently and say, you know what? This guy knows what he's talking about when it comes to the quarterback position, or this guy knows what he's talking about when it comes to the offense. We don't have that. We do not have that right now. And the defense, we have that. We have that in terms of Coach Obrick. We have that in terms of Coach Saleh, and we're a top 3 defense in the league. You saw the impact because we have that caliber of experience and resume. On the offensive side, DK's right. Who the hell is there that we can look at and say, well, so-and-so knows what the hell they're talking about, and if they believe in Zach, then it's just a matter of time. There's no one. There's absolutely nobody.
Look like we got a personal connect here. So not only just you, we got Barney Miller here who looks like he was on the same thing. It's funny you brought up Kurt Warner, too, because I've seen the same video, and it was, I think my days are getting mixed up this week, but I want to say it was literally this morning. I was watching a breakdown, and I was leaving some comments on it after seeing it, and I was like, this is perfect. Not to say that maybe, you know, Mike LaFleur could be sounding just as eloquent as, you know, Kurt Warner is. Who knows? All I'm saying is we don't know that about Rob Calabrese. We don't for sure know about Mike LaFleur. I'm still not sure as a coordinator how heavy, you know, his hand is in I don't want to say dealing with Zach day to day, but working through his mechanics as opposed to trying to get his playbook down and seeing what he wants to run and stuff. And that would be my big grip with him, right? Offensive coordinator, I feel like it's kind of that do-it-all position. You need to tackle all the things. If your tight ends are playing like crap, then it's a little bit more of a focus that you're going to be spending there. If it's your quarterbacks, yada, yada. But, even when they said it, and I spent like 3 days of research looking up Rob Calabrese, trying to find all the things so I could feel comfortable about us magically handing over Zach Wilson to this dude that we really didn't even know about in year one. And I've been unsettled this whole season because of it. But yeah, I would love, man, if we could get Kurt Warner, that would be something else. And it's not just, it fits perfectly along with what the rest of the coaching staff is too, as former players that kind of can, and they can build on that experience that they have as players as well. And obviously Kurt Warner's kept up with the evolution of offenses. So I don't think it would be a situation where, we would say, all right, it's John Gruden and we're bringing 1996 back to football. Like it's none of that would be happening. So I don't know how we go about it. I'm curious. And this, the beat writers piss me off every press conference because it's like 6 of them that fight to ask the same kind of question.
Yeah, all the time.
Switch words up. And I'm like, bruh, if y'all just check the comments, we have much better questions we're looking to get answered.
We'll help you do your job. Your job.
Sometimes
questions,
we got. Oh, you said we got some questions here?
Who's this? Yeah, we got Barney Miller asking about Derek Carr.
Let me see. Can Kurt Warner fix his footwork? Okay, so we had that discussion. TV contracts.
The TV contract thing, like that's easy. That's an easy pull out.
Yeah.
Like, and actually, it's not difficult at all. Like, you see it across the league where a lot of those guys have in their contracts clauses to where if an opportunity arrives in the NFL, they can go ahead and leave without penalty. That wouldn't be a reason why to hesitate. But in terms of the foot issue, like I get what you're going with that. The footwork is obviously a big concern in terms of his accuracy, but I think him not seeing, like, there's one play that it blows my mind when I watch the All-22 is Zach Wilson is legitimately looking at a wide open Denzel Mims on a post route to the end zone.
Yep.
Bro, dog, wide open. Like, I'm talking about you and I could have been out there and just, I'm going to try to launch it, and he would have had all the space in the end zone to go just chase the ball down. Zach Wilson doesn't even attempt to throw the ball. That wasn't footwork. Zach Wilson has the arm strength. He could have, off of his back foot, just launched it into the end zone and let Denzel Mims go for it, but he didn't even try to throw it. He's not trusting what he sees. And not trusting what he sees, bro, that is a mental thing. Like, the footwork is important to go ahead for when he makes the decision to throw the ball. But he's not even making the decision to throw the ball. Like, he sees it and he's still like, let me run out this way and get sacked, or let me just throw it away. And there's a lot more of a mental component to it because I don't think he trusts what he's seeing. And Barney saw it too. Barney even said that play was unforgivable. Is right, because it was about as easy as it was of a throw. Like, when I saw that play, I was like, "There's no."
Man. Well, in the Elijah Moore one, where he bounced right in front of him, also wide open
route for freaking Ty Johnson.
I didn't even like that. I didn't like that throw. Yeah, I wasn't feeling that.
It was a bad throw.
He looks like a high school quarterback.
The throw right in front of him.
He looks like a high school quarterback.
Ty Johnson could run that thing in for. He could have literally gotten to the end zone. Like, he's not trusting his eyes, man. And I think by the time he's making the decision to throw the ball, it's too late. Which is why I think it's messing up his footwork, because then now he's trying to catch up on the time it took for him to trust what he saw. So then his footwork is all jacked up. So, like, that's the first thing. Yeah, again, Dark Soldier said, I think he's nervous. And it's in his head. You don't go from playing the way you did against the Buffalo Bills to playing the way you did against the Patriots without it being mental. Because the Buffalo,
everybody keeps going back to that game, and I think that just feeds into what we were saying earlier. That's almost the bare minimum for a lot of other quarterbacks. Not to discredit the Bills' defense, but
100%.
We're not talking about the top 10 performance.
No. We're talking about he got the ball out of his hands fast. He had a high completion percentage. He definitely outplayed freaking Josh Allen in that game. I'm not saying like, oh my God, I'm wet because he just did the best freaking game of all time. It's not one of those games. No, bro. Like, I'm talking about, like, in terms of his confidence, he trusted what he saw, got the ball out of his hands fast. It was a good game managed game. If he did that against the Patriots on Sunday, we win the game by 2 scores. Yeah. If he played the way he did against the Bills, we win the game by 2 scores. And again, like you said, we're not even asking this kid to do much. Like, we're legitimately just like, bro, just be mid. just be mid. We're not even asking you to be a top 10 guy. Be a top 20 quarterback in this league. That's it.
He literally could give us a bottom 10 performance because, like we said, some of these stats you're not even ranked as a starting quarterback on 32 teams. Joe Flacco's ahead of you in some categories. Like the shit is crazy. It really is. And I'm not even a guy that likes to rely on the stats all the time, but I mentioned it earlier today. The stats and his performance on tape, like damn near sync up perfect. Like it makes a lot of sense. It's why I don't mind missing these games where I can't actually watch them just because I don't want to get YouTube TV or whatever. Being on the West Coast is because I can literally watch Gamecast on ESPN and it's damn near like I'm seeing the play. I kind of already got an idea what the hell's going on with Zach Wilson and, you know, how things probably happen. And lo and behold, jump on the YouTube, see the highlights, and boom. It's damn near like I'm a visionary. So it's crazy. It is absolutely crazy. Jump off, Jet. Yeah. I think we had a real solid one today. We it's gonna be some interesting shit next week, guaranteed.
Oh, we got to answer this question. Barney Miller, good one. He says 5 years from now, is Zach still in the league, or are we talking about USL, XFL fan control? Wow, fan control, shit.
Or CFL.
Man, in all actuality, like
he'll be a backup. He'll be a backup.
I don't even think that, bro. For who? For the thing is this, right? Zach Wilson's upside, and he'll go to the CFL.
Strength. Not the XFL, CFL and a backup somewhere. Look at Chase Daniel. Look at Chase Daniel.
But bro, you're talking about guys who could do the easy stuff pretty good, or at least average. Zach Wilson can't complete a screen pass, dog. Like that's what I'm saying. Like the easy stuff, those guys can do. That's why they're backups. That's why Mike White's a backup, because he can do the easy stuff. You know what I'm saying? Zach Wilson can't do that consistently, bro. I
agree with that.
Concerning.
So you're going with out of the league?
I think he's out of the league, man. I do. I think Canadian Football League. I think Canadian Football League could potentially be an option.
XFL.
But man, I don't know. Oh God,
is that you, Gino?
A good question.
XFL, CFL, or a backup somewhere. Someone's going to want to give him another shot, or be a quarterback's coach for BYU. I don't know. I mean, he could go back. I don't know.
BYU ain't doing that. BYU's not going to have him bring that.
You never know. Hey, crazy shit has happened, man. Crazy shit has happened. Like, you never know.
You can trust on Gino to say something wild at least once, for sure.
Hey, man. What's wrong with that?
Head coach of BYU. That's where he's going to be at in 5 years.
Man.
I said quarterback.
I don't even know where to go. I'd probably say XFL at minimum, only because I'm thinking like the Panthers took a shot on PJ Walker. There's multiple other quarterbacks that were completely trash.
Exactly.
That's
what I'm saying.
Shown anything that have been picked up. I mean, in a world, I don't even want to go here, but in a world where you see multiple opportunities for, and give me a second to rack my brain and remember his name. What was the Broncos quarterback, the 6'7" dude they drafted? That just
God,
not Osweiler, but somebody else, right?
No, I thought it was Osweiler. It wasn't him?
No. There was a different guy. Paxton Lynch. There we go. Paxton Lynch.
Oh my God, that bum.
And you've seen him get a couple opportunities, so I think the league will always.
He said in 5 years from now. That's what he said. He didn't say next year or in 2 years. In 5 years,
we didn't say if Zach Wilson would ever take a snap in between that point. So he could ride the bench like a Geno Smith and suddenly get into a backup role. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. See, that's exactly what I'm saying.
So he said Lynch was in the USFL. Man, I like Barney, bro. He's got all kinds of facts, bro.
Yeah. We need to employ you, Barney. I need you.
Yeah, bro. Him and Dark Soldier be having the most facts. Like it's like, where y'all just got a book full of all this knowledge on standby.
It's instant. Yeah, I was gonna say there's no Google.
No, he says I got Google. He got Google.
He's humble.
He just types fast. He types fast.
That was a good one. Oh, all right. We gotta at least do our normal stuff because we bumped it up. Predictions, and then we'll end it.
All right. Yeah, there's none of this bullshit anymore. This is just my legitimate predictions. I'm gonna go Chicago loses this game this Sunday. I think we're gonna go in there. The defense is too much for Syrian, or if it's Justin Fields, they don't have any talent on that team except for Justin Fields. So we're gonna come out with a W. It's gonna be a 28-14 victory for the New York Jets. I think Mike White's gonna have a pretty good game on Sunday.
Before I get into that, I've met Kurt Warner many times on the greatest show on turf. My dad used to work for the Rams, and I did. His knowledge of football is amazing. I've done some classes with him too when he was here. He knows my dad. He doesn't really know me very well, but his football knowledge, that would be really great if he can come the Jets' way. It won't happen, but Kurt Warner, seeing him, what he does, it's truly remarkable. So that's number one. Number two, Chicago Bears against the Jets. I think we do win 20-15. 20-15.
20-15.
This is a bounce back game for us.
Barney, how much you pay? Let me get back to you on that. I'm working out some financials. He says 28-17. So, all right. I was very confident in the Patriots game. I think I said 27-10. I didn't realize Zach Wilson was going to play the way that he did. I assumed we were going to get something average. But the Bears literally have like probably the worst talent. If Justin Fields wasn't running around for almost 200 yards a game, nobody would fear anything that's happening over there. I will say behind a Mike White-led offense, I will go 24-6 Jets win.
Okay.
It can't pass on us unless they get some kind of crazy like David Montgomery runs or Justin Fields
All
plays.
I'm saying is this. If the Jets lose this game on Sunday, I am putting $20 on the remaining schedule based off of the coins predictions.
Hey, I'm not even gonna lie, bro. I was thinking the same thing. I can pull $10 out of somewhere, and we'll let it ride.
Now I'm gonna put that parlay in bet on Sunday night if that happens.
You might be able to still squeeze a good deal out of the sports book too, because you never know. I don't think they had anybody place a bet on the Michael Carter rushes for 100 for the first time. Okay, I trust in Barney right now. You got some kind of like Oracle kind of information stuff going on over there.
Keep bringing it. I like that. I'm feeling this.
All right. Well, it's been a very solid show as normal, gentlemen. Who's Gino, you taking us out again?
No, you could do it this time.
All right, boys. Jets Flight Squad, it's been a pleasure, y'all. Appreciate y'all in the cockpit with us on a whatever. Enter Jets Flight Fun here.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Yes. Happy Thanksgiving. Hope you guys enjoy all the time with your families. You can find us on all the social medias, at least for my fellows, Gunny Gumby and Gino from Italy Jet here. You'll see stuff in the description for it. Me, I'm the elder here, so that's not happening. But appreciate all the love. As always, guys, you guys have been making these shows a lot of fun, all the comments, questions, etc. And we'll catch you guys again next week. Peace.
Have a good night, everyone.